Well, I haven't got any videos, I haven't got any slides. Is that an indictment on my communication abilities? Not sure. Um, Thanks very much for giving me the opportunity to have a chat about ideas and opinions about that older people have about communication, because we all have opinions, particularly older people, about communication. It's such a broad topic. I'm obviously going to shave it down a bit. Hope you've got some takeaways from what I talk about. But my starting point is, well, good communication is really in the eye and the ear of the beholder for all of us, really. In terms of the older people, the age category nowadays is starting to get to 55 plus, up to, I know people in their 90s, so we're looking at a 40-year span of people in this older age cohort. And that's basically a couple of generations worth. It's friends that I know that are in their 80s and 90s with young children during the and during the Second World War. And yet some of the other people I know in their 55 to 60 age group were also children in the Vietnam War. So lots of experiences in our lives, lots of things have happened. We've had incredible amount of people coming from overseas as migrants, as refugees in the last 60 years. And so, and many of them are now in the older age cohort. So we are a broad group. We've had life experiences, life events, work experiences, and communication preferences. One thing I need to say, not in defence, but I think somebody else mentioned it, age is not an indicator of how skilled we are with technology. I have an 81-year-old friend who uses WhatsApp all the time to me, pays her bills and trades shares on her smartphone. I have a 69-year-old friend who absolutely refuses to use a mobile phone, despite the entreaties of her friends and family. Now, as older people, we actually navigate a lot of targeted communication in our daily lives. We get information from governments and private companies. We get information from the tax office, from Centrelink, from insurance companies trying to sell us plus 55 insurance products. We also get targeted communication about other products, like travel companies trying to target us to go on group tours or all those interminable cruises that they're trying to sell us. So we're pretty practiced in receiving and fielding that sort of information. In terms of the primary health field, we're also subject to a lot of public health promotions, including flu vaccines, take a bowel cancer test, breast screen, and many other promotions. So, you know, I think we sort of know how to field that sort of information. But today, given that you're talking about health and wellbeing activities, I decided, because I'm an old statistician, I am very old, I decided to ask some people to get some evidence. So I asked 24 people that I know about their view about what makes for good communication. Those 24 people are aged between 60 and 93. 19 of those 24 are in clubs, go to Tai Chi, walk the dog, or in walking groups in U3A or volunteers. Now, I asked several questions. First one was, how do we source information? And from those people, four areas came up as the most popular responses. We really like word of mouth. We like our friends, our rellies, people in our clubs, our neighbours, to give us some advice, to give us a suggestion. It's often the first point of where we're going to move on to actually enrol, to find out more about an activity. We also trust our medical practitioners, our GPs, our allied health professionals, our physios, our podiatrists, the nurses at the community health centre, to also give us information about our health and well-being and some suggestions. And we take that on board, and most of us of the 24 value that. The other area that we see as a useful point of contact for information in our community and for suggestions on our life choices is the council. We love our council. We see the council as the deliverer of aged care services. Historically, that is. Things are changing a bit nowadays. But they also fund recreation services and social events. And we often use the council or their funded agencies like libraries, community centres, aquatic centres, as a point of contact where we can get information about activities that we're interested in. And there were 11 people out of the 24 that actually engage in regular exercise activity that I spoke to. And 9 of those said that they got their information from the rec centre, from the neighbourhood house, from the council when they went to find out about engaging in a particular activity. And finally, we love our local paper. Some of them are fast diminishing, but we still see the local paper as a point of contact for what's going on in our community. We pick up a bit of information, we might see something from the council, or there might be a what's on list. So we really value that. Now, what are our communication preferences? Sorry, I should have brought my glasses, too vain. Many of us can access information on a multitude of ways, and we do so. But some 8 out of the 24 that I spoke to rely only on word of mouth, hard copy, or phone calls, or going to an agency, an organisation to get information. But we basically all like hard copy. We pick up the brochures at the neighbourhood house, or when we're at the aquatic centre, or down at the shopping centre. And we like to, even those of us, the 14 of us that have got internet and iPhones, we also like to often download that piece of information, put it on the fridge, put it on the counter, somewhere for us to remember to follow up. And the other thing that I found was that there's 16 of us out of the 24 are enrolled in emails or snail mail newsletter mailing lists. We really value newsletters. We get newsletters from the neighbourhood house, we get a bulletin from the library, our senior sits puts out a newsletter every month, Probus, COTA, all of those, and we see that as an important source of information. Now, in terms of the content, obviously we're like most people, we want simple, clear, concise, and a pathway to what should we be doing for the next step to engage in that particular activity. 4 of my respondents are from non-English, 6 of them are from non-English speaking backgrounds, but 4 of them actually identified that they really appreciate the opportunity of something in their own language, their own mother tongue, and that they also reiterated that that is also the case for many of their friends. Now, stereotyping older people is an issue, although I was very happy with the images on display this morning. But that is absolutely a no-no. It's a real turn-off for many of us, because grey hair is not the only characteristic of us oldies. We're a diverse community. We are a 40 years plus age range, so we do present in various ways. I mean, the obvious inclusions that we need are that we need to acknowledge people from different ethnic communities. We also need people like to be depicted in what their normal daily activities. They like those images. And of course, baby boomers, we have such an ego that we have about our perception of being active and engaging. So you've got to account for us too. But there are some subtle depictions that are also turn-offs. Now, we're not all in couples. We're not all couples. We're not all middle class, and we're not all heterosexuals. The other thing is, in terms of next steps, make it as easy as possible again for us to ring up, to go to the counter, to email, to look on the website, to sign up for an activity. The majority of people stated that the opportunity to access the organisation by phone or in person was an absolutely valued aspect of the communication and key often to a positive experience. So good communication, inclusive, relatable, support us when we're ready to respond to you. And finally, I didn't use the word co-design. I thought, oh, well, finally, just collaborate with us and ask us. Thank you.